Hi, can you hear me? Hey guys. Hey, can you hear me? I don't we're just going to wait for people to show up. Can you guys hear me? Just let me know if you can hear what I'm saying. Okay. That was frustrating. Thank you guys for sticking it out. So here's what happened. I'll give you a little update. I'm going to move this mic away from me now cuz that was frightening. I just unplugged the mic from here and from like the mic itself, and the sound just disappeared. And then I tried replugging it, didn't work. Tried unplugging it using the computer microphone, didn't work. So that wasn't great. So when this video does go up after I do the live stream, I'm gonna have to edit these two pieces together. But that's what happened. But I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm so glad you guys hopped over and were able to come over and see what we were doing. So we answered question number one, and that was great. I'm so happy. So many of you guys are still able to come over and see what we're doing because some people might be caught in between, not sure what's going on. But we did it. Before we get into the next question, I wanted to quickly mention that I recently redid my nails and I really like the color. And I just think it's very like pretty and natural. So I just wanted to show it. I don't know. I feel it's like a little bit more than just a light pink, but I like the color a lot. So let me know what you guys think. Okay. So let's move on to the next question. The question is, I love movies, especially Marvel superhero movies. If you could be any superhero or have any superpower, who or what would you choose? So I love that question. Jacob and I don't love superhero movies anymore. I used to really like them. Of course, I love the original Superman, like with Christopher Reeve. That's a great movie. And I used to enjoy them, but then they became like the only movies that come out in theaters. So then I didn't enjoy it as much. But that doesn't mean I don't like superhero movies. It just means it's kind of like what would you call it? Oversaturation, I would say. But if I had to choose a superpower, I was talking to Jacob about this. I would choose healing. And the reason for that is all of the other superpowers are things that would be like fun and maybe even useful. But when somebody is sick or you're sick, that's the time that you wish for a miracle more than any other time. So if I could heal people, then or heal myself, both of those things, not just healing me, I would want it to be healing other people. Then I feel like I would be so grateful for that because that's like the most stressed you're ever that you ever are. And the time that you wish that you had a superpower more than anything. So that's what I wish is that I had a superpower that I could heal people because, gosh, it's just the worst, to be sick and to see other people be sick. Um, so that's my thing. But if I was gonna do one that's a little bit more like fun, but also so useful, I would do teleportation. Uh, I talk to Jake about this all the time too, which is like if we could teleport, we could live wherever we wanted and we could teleport wherever we needed to go, like every day for work, and it would take a second. How crazy is that? That's like amazing. Is that like you could just live in Paris and commute to New York? Like you would never have to turn down a job based on location. You would never have to like move away from family. You could live with your family, live near your family, and go to work across the world. That would be so cool. I really I think about that a lot. Like I wait for a time in history where that becomes a thing. Where this I just what if in the future that becomes a thing? We just can teleport. That'd be amazing. Everything be so close. Okay. So my two. Those are my two ideas. Okay. Next up. So this was actually a content pitch idea, which is I'm a Christian and I find any information about Jewish holidays fascinating. I would love for you to do a video about the holidays, like which ones are considered more important, which ones you like the most, and why, and just more details in general about the meaning behind the more religious holidays. So at some point, I might do this into a video, but I figured I would touch on it right now. Um, so one of the there are a lot of Jewish holidays, and a few that you probably have never even heard of, which makes it difficult when you need to take off a day for work or for school, so that you can keep the Jewish holiday. That makes things tricky because people are like, "I've never even heard of Shavuot," but it's a real thing. So the holidays that are the most important are called the Shalosh Regalim, which are like the three holidays where we used to go up to the temple. And so this is outside of Yom Kippur, which is the biggest fast of the year, and it's super important. But the Shalosh Regalim are Sukkot, Shavuot, and is it Rosh Hashanah? Okay, now I can't remember the third one. I think it's Rosh Hashanah. And those are like the most important. My favorite Jewish holiday is Sukkot. I love Sukkot. So nice. Oh, it's Pesach. Sorry, that was obvious. Passover. So Passover, Sukkot, and Festival of Booths, and Shavuot, which is, I believe, Pentecost in English. So those are the three big Jewish holidays. But my favorite Jewish holiday is Sukkot. We also have a few Jewish holidays that are not as important but are still really fun. So Hanukkah is not a hugely important Jewish holiday, but it is a super fun Jewish holiday, and it's right around the holidays for Christians. So that's also nice, is that we get to celebrate our own holiday while you guys are celebrating Christmas. And of course, as you guys know, I love Christmas cheer. So I love when everyone is happy and celebrating their faith. I think that's awesome. Yeah, I think that kind of a short version to that question. Short answer. So the next question is, what fashion outfit advice or tips you can give someone who is very active? I paddleboard and boulder around the world, so I travel a lot too. My closet is mostly just athletic wear, super comfortable, great for both working out and sitting on a plane or running through an airport, but I do feel schlubby sometimes, even though what I wear is definitely a reflection of my style. Any suggestions on how to throw in a piece of something modest, feminine, but still keep everything comfy? So I think there's something I want to quickly say. I'm not somebody who generally considers athletic wear fashion. I consider it more practical. But that's not to say that if that's your style, you can't make it work and make it your fashion. I mean, it's just that for me, I tend to think of athletic wear as athletic wear, and it's like in its own category. But if I want to like be fashionable, I put on something else. So keeping that in mind and where I'm at, what I would say is, for traveling, finding a comfortable cardigan like this one, that's like long, especially if you're planning on wearing leggings, because you guys know where I stand on modesty and leggings. You want to wear something that covers your bottom. Wearing a long, like comfy sweater and cardigan that maybe has a belt, that's a very beautiful feminine addition to your clothing, especially because planes get cold. And I think it's always nice to have something warm and cozy on a plane, but it also adds just a little bit something extra than like a sweatshirt. I feel like a sweatshirt can look, like you said, a little schlubby. So having like a nice cardigan is always nice. A loose blazer can always look great. Something that's fitted looks great too. You can throw that on top of anything. But if you wanted to get something that's like a little bit less structured, that'll still look really very classic and beautiful. What else? I mean, I'm somebody who tends to think that dresses are really comfortable. So if you find the right kind of dress, then you can kind of incorporate that into your wardrobe. Now, are you going to wear that when you're paddleboarding? No. Are you going to wear that when you're being very, very active? Probably not. But just going out and about in your life, I think that wearing a comfortable dress is a nice thing to have in your closet. You can get anything that's like a stretchy cotton is going to be like a comfortable dress, and you can usually find stuff that has like a cute drawstring waist, or just bring some definition to your body that defines the prettiest parts of you and accentuates the prettiest parts of you. So I would recommend that. And I'm trying to think what else. I mean, I assume if you're more athletic, you prefer to wear pants. So finding feminine tops. I feel like that's really the thing, is that if you're wearing a lot of pants because you're athletic, find tops that have like really feminine details and classic details. So like, I don't know, a little cap sleeve or some lace, things that accentuate your femininity and make you feel womanly and classic. Those are going to just add a little bit of something to your outfits that doesn't actually make you less comfortable. Like you can still live your life. Again, most of this is not going to be super appropriate if you're going out and you're doing something like physically active, but at that moment I don't think that you care that much about staying classic. We're talking about like your general wardrobe. If you're going to be out and about doing something super physical, yeah, just wear physical clothing. Like it's okay. Okay, let's see. And what else? Yeah, people are asking about the best places to buy long dresses and stuff like that. I would definitely say, I mean, I've found some great things. Thrifting, number one, great place. Number two, Amazon sometimes has some awesome things. Target is like way into the prairie dresses lately, so everything is really, really comfortable with them and is modest, which I love. And I'm trying to think of where else I shop. I mean, I'm very flexible. I tend to look. My mom and I were talking about this in my last Q&A. We tend to look at all different stores and just see what we come up with, because we have like certain restrictions that we prefer to dress by. So TJ Maxx, as you guys know, I shop a lot at TJ Maxx. TJ Maxx has things that would never work for me and that would not be modest at all. And then they have other things that are great and I would totally wear. So that's where I would recommend, if you're like looking for specific stores. I gave you a few that I shop at because I prefer to buy things that are slightly more affordable. But oh my gosh, there are some, I just need to mention, there are some brands on Instagram that are like a little bit out of my price range, but are so modest and so beautiful. And I wish I could own dresses like that because they're so feminine. I'm trying to think. I think one's called Ivy and Co. or Ivy City and Co. I'm not sure which one. And they do like matching dresses with mothers and daughters. Oh, so cute. And they're like beautiful. And then there's I know Rachel Parcell designs a lot of dresses that are like very beautiful, long enough, feminine, that kind of thing. So someone was asking about the scoop. I do want to briefly mention that. So the scoop I stopped doing because I use my vlogs as a way to talk to you guys. I also am doing my podcast now, so I chat about that. If you want access to my exclusive podcast, then that is available on my Substack. So for any of you guys who are new over here, who've just joined, the questions that I'm answering are for my premium Substack subscribers. So if you're interested in signing up and becoming a member, then you can head over to classicallyabby.substack.com and you'll get access to a ton of exclusive content, which I already mentioned, and I don't want to repeat for so many of you guys who are here and have been here since the beginning. Whew. So yes. Okay. So let's see, how many more questions do we have? Ooh, we've got a few more. So I'm going to only answer maybe two more. Okay. So number two, let's start with this one. Do you think it is possible to be too familiar with your spouse? I have a close friend who her and her husband literally have no decorum between them, not even basic manners or hygiene. I do think it's possible to be too familiar with your spouse. So the thing that you have to keep in mind, I'm just going to be blunt, is that this is somebody who you love and you're comfortable with, but also who you want to stay attracted to you. And I think that we take this for granted in today's day and age, where we act as though, they should be attracted to me no matter what. We made a giant commitment. Of course you made a commitment. And of course you're going to stay together. But the kindness of going out of your way to stay attractive for your partner, since they are not going to stray, is a very important one. So it's a very important kindness to try your best to maintain hygiene and try to maintain, your looks and maintain certain boundaries. I mean, in Orthodox Judaism, there are certain rules that are actually part of this, which is maintaining a little bit of separation, not separation in an emotional way, but keeping up those boundaries of like decorum and hygiene so that you guys actually stay, I don't know, respectful of each other. So, not using the bathroom in front of each other. I think that's a good rule. I know some people are flexible on that. I tend to not be. I think that it's important not to be using the restroom in front of each other generally. I think that's a good rule. I put in an effort to shave and take care of myself and exercise, and Jacob exercises so that the two of us look good for each other. Ugh, sorry, there's the fly in here. I mentioned that in the last live stream, I think. So we're dealing with that right now. And I think that that's really just an important, whoo, sorry, right in my eye, concept to to encourage, is that you want to be open and honest with each other always, but you love each other enough that you want to stay attractive for one another. And that means treating each other sort of like you're still dating sometimes. That's a good thing. Um, so that's what I'm thinking. And that's what I think. Someone said they're so bad at boundaries. Closing the bathroom door might be a good place to start. Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. And it's pretty easy. You just kind of like shut the door before you go in. And of course, you can always rebuild those boundaries, which is actually really nice. I know people might think that, like, oh, once you've done that, you can't take a step back, but you absolutely can. I mean, think about it. If you use the restroom in front of your husband a lot, then all of a sudden you stop. I mean, that's a good thing. It's not like you've broken that boundary now. You can actually reinstate it, and that's okay. So let's move on to the very last question, which is, why do people suddenly turn cold in friendships with no explanation when nothing went sour in the relationship, nor was there an argument or a disagreement? I came across this question and I was really excited to answer it. And it is 100% because of my husband that I know the answer to this question. So I didn't used to be a good friend. And I will explain that. What I mean is, I didn't used to pursue a problem with a friend of mine if if something came up. So if my friend offended me or something like that, I wouldn't reach out to them. I wouldn't say to them, this upset me. I would just let it fester privately and not really mention it. I might pull away and the friendship would fizzle out. And I thought to myself, that's normal. People don't talk to each other about this kind of stuff. Ugh, conflict, gross. And I would allow myself to distance myself from friends and lose friends because I was afraid of conflict. And when I met Jacob, he said to me, the it's actually real friendship to it's real friendship when you can have conflict with that person. When you reach out to them and you tell them that something they did upset you or bothered you, and they may not even know it. And they don't know that they have to apologize to you because they don't even know. And I thought to myself, oh my God, this is really, like, that's okay. I just didn't even know that that was allowed. And I think that that's what happens. Often people offend each other without even knowing. And if they knew, they would never, ever do that, or they would immediately apologize. But the other person is so awkward and so nervous about like getting into a conflict that they don't reach out and say, you upset me. And if they did, that relationship would 100% stay intact. But if they don't, that relationship gets cold and it sours and people lose touch. That's why that happens, is that something happened that you didn't know offended the other person or vice versa. And then nobody followed up because nobody wanted to get into that conflict. That is the worst possible scenario for friendships. And those are the friendships that fall apart. The friendships that stay together and you stay close with that person, are the friendships where when something frustrating or upsetting has happened, you reach out and you say it, and there might be an initial frustration and conflict, but after that initial frustration and conflict, the friendship is stronger. So that's why that happens. Now you know. If this is happening to you right now, maybe reach out to that friend and say, "Do you know why this is going on? Did I do something that upset you and I don't even know that I did it?" And you might find out that you did. So maybe that friendship is still in a space where you guys can mend fences. But it is difficult when you don't even know why because you're the one who's out of the loop. So that's what I would say. Um, let's see what some of you guys have had to say, and then we're gonna sign off. So let's see. Well, I mean, someone was saying that they put up walls in friendships when they find something out about someone that makes you lose respect and no longer desire their company. Well, that's different, right? I mean, there are situations where somebody does something very obvious and you're like, okay, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. And you just let the friendship, you ghost the friendship in a way. I mean, that's another situation. But often it's the first scenario. And in that situation, if somebody's doing something wrong, I mean, you should tell them. Maybe they don't know that they're doing something wrong and you could help. Maybe they would grow. But also, protecting yourself is not a bad thing. If you are not in a scenario where if you're not in a situation where you can handle that, protecting yourself is not a bad thing. It's okay to say, okay, I need a little bit of distance from this person. Let's see. Um, I think that's it. But you guys have some great comments. I really appreciate you tuning in tonight. So this was a lot of fun, and I'm sorry about the mic situation in the last segment of the last live stream. But thank you guys so much for coming over to this one. I really appreciated it. So if you didn't already know, I will finish off by just letting you know that you should subscribe to my YouTube channel first and foremost, so that you can see all of my regular content. I do one vlog a week and one normal video a week where I talk about being classic and being more traditional values and classic living and stuff like that. So feel free to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And you should also make sure to subscribe to my Substack and become a premium subscriber so you can get access to a ton of exclusive content like this, where you can submit questions for videos just like this one. So make sure to head over there. It's classicallyabby.substack.com. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.